Hey there, and welcome to another episode of Tree Service Marketing Profits Podcast. I'm your host, Wesley Smith with treeservicedigital.com. And today we have a guest, John Rogalsky, the owner of Rick's Certified Arborist in Pennsylvania. He's on today. He's going to share a story about how he got started in the business and kind of what's been helping him grow the business. John, welcome aboard, man. Thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, definitely excited to be here, Wes.
All right, awesome, man. Well, maybe we'll start with, maybe how you got into the tree service business a while ago, kind of where you started, what you were doing, and kind of what helped you kind of get going in the business.
Sure. Yeah, man. I think like a lot of us in the industry, I didn't grow up my entire life hoping to be an arborist. Kind of fell into it by accident. I was a graphic designer and ended up turning to arboriculture kind of as a summer job. But I almost developed my passion for working outside. And after working with several companies, I had my first big opportunity with Rick's Tree Service back in 2013. Some people might still be familiar with what we accomplished, but at our peak, we were about 12 to 14 crews, about $10 million annually. And I was able to work my way up with Rick, become one of his certified arborists, help start a plant healthcare division, which became what we are now, Rick's Certified Arborist, one of the area's only plant healthcare focused companies.
That's great, man. If you guys are watching us on YouTube, like and subscribe to our channel. If you're on the podcast, like and subscribe there too. If you have any questions along this interview, ask us below in the comment section. We'll come back here and reply to it and answer your questions. Well, that's awesome, John. Yeah, I remember our conversation before about Rick's Tree Service there and how big that company got. And then yours was sort of a, I guess you guys had an arrangement where it was a spinoff of doing the certified arborist and the plant healthcare division, right? Instead of just having one direct company, it was kind of like a separate path you went down or something.
Yeah, so back in I think 2018, Rick decided to step away from the business. And one of the opportunities that he gave me is to take over what was our plant healthcare, almost like quote unquote division, which wasn't really much. I think it had only been operational for 2 years. We might have had like 60, 70,000 in revenue. But he gave me an opportunity to have something of my own and continue on the name.
That's awesome. And that was kind of your passion too, right? Like sort of that side of the business versus the traditional tree service.
100%, man. Yeah. I enjoyed what I did. Don't misunderstand me. But it's really easy to get burnt out on removal bids and talking people out of pruning trees in ways that they shouldn't. So the plant healthcare really opened up a side of the business where I definitely think we're a lot more appreciated, and it's more of a specialty type skill, being able to diagnose and manage the health of people's trees.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people out there, you'd be surprised if they're given the opportunity to do one or the other, right? Like save the tree or just take down the tree. They probably would rather save the tree if there's a possibility to do that. And it takes somebody with the expertise and the arborist credentials probably to go out there and talk about what their options are versus just having one or two different things that you do as far as tree services. So, has that been kind of your experience? Like a lot of people want to talk about that type of thing. I'm sure like HOAs and universities and municipalities probably do, but like the typical homeowner, has that been a good side of the business for you as well?
Yeah, I think that's a really good point, Wes, where most people want to save the tree rather than remove it. They just don't know that that option's there. That's why I think as certified arborists and people who perform plant healthcare services, that's why it's so important to be able to educate people just what their options are. I'm totally fine if we're able to diagnose a disease and we walk through what managing that issue looks like, and the customer still decides to remove it. That's fine, but we usually get the opposite. We usually get the client who's talked to 3 or 4 removal companies. They haven't been told they even have a choice but to take the tree down, and we're able to offer an option for like a tenth of the cost, but more importantly, give them a reason to be able to keep the tree.
Yeah, that's good stuff. I mean, I think that just kind of goes along with kind of where we're headed to as far as like just urban sprawl and everything else. Like instead of just removing all the trees for development, a lot of places are looking to kind of either replant, save, kind of rebuild the area with trees and things like that too, because it's an important part of our environment to keep them in most cases. And a lot of times, with you guys' specialized services, you can do that even if they get pests and stuff like that. Now, is there? I'm guessing there's different options if like the emerald ash borer or the caterpillars I've seen you kind of post about little things like that. If they get into the tree species, there's ways you can treat them to save them. Where is that a long term process typically with the plant healthcare side of it?
I mean, the industry and especially locally, the way that we look at how we're gonna introduce ourselves to a client, it's usually because of one of the big issues. At first, it was emerald ash borer. Then we got hit with spotted lanternfly. That helped us get onto properties with people who might not have ever met with a certified arborist before. And just recently, it's been beech leaf disease. Last year, we really got a taste for how bad beech leaf disease is going to be. Beaches, just like the ash were, are a big part of our urban forest in the area. So it's not only a big revenue driver, but it's another reason that it's easy for customers to see the issues that they have. They might not know it's beech leaf disease, but they know there's something wrong with the tree, and that's going to trigger that phone call that you can start to create that relationship.
Yeah, and let's talk about this just for a minute too. Like you would say, a regular tree service company in a local area, and I know all of them are going to be a little bit different as far as the percentages go, but would you say it's 10 to 1 or would it be 20 to 1 traditional tree service companies versus certified arborists like tree and plant healthcare companies? Would you think that'd be a good ratio, or is it more like 30 or 50 to 1 with regular tree
Ooh,
service companies versus one arborist plant healthcare company?
we're in a really competitive market, and we're lucky to have as many knowledgeable people in the area as we do. I would say plant healthcare only companies like us. There's three others that are in the area. It's such a big market for plant healthcare that there's really plenty to go around. Most big companies, outside of the national brands like the Bartlett's and the Davies, of course, they have their plant healthcare divisions. Most of the top players in our area, though, they do have plant healthcare divisions. There's always going to be those smaller, more independent, removal and pruning specialists. You'd be surprised, though. I mean, we're definitely in an area of the country that, I mean, I might even say like 3 to 1 is plant healthcare operation, whether it's exclusive or as a subset of their removal services.
Gotcha. Yeah, it seems to be kind of a mixed bag across the country with clients we talk to too. And would you kind of speak on, for people out there that may be looking to get into the plant healthcare side of the business, maybe they've got an extensive customer database of traditional tree service companies, maybe maintenance, tree preservation and maintenance and things like that, but they're looking to get into more of the plant healthcare, tree healthcare side of the business. Would you say that side is easy, maybe a little easier to get referrals and recommendations from people since now you're kind of the expert of the tree versus just maybe a pruning or trimming or a removal expert?
That's an interesting question. I think it's definitely easier to get recommended more. But keep in mind, like people aren't doing their own diagnosis. So you might get a referral for a tree that's covered in lichen because your customer that you did work for, their neighbor has a tree that they think is dying. It turns out to be nothing but a little bit of moss, that's growing on the bark. So that part is a little bit easier, just being recognized as quote unquote like the tree doctors. But this side of the business is a lot more education focused, where you're kind of walking the client through a journey of, what the symptoms are, how you're able to pick up on them, what the treatment process looks like. So I know that's kind of a roundabout way to answer that question. But I'm sure you have your own thoughts being in the industry too. Like, what do you see on your end?
Yeah, that's some of it. A lot of people say that, and we've talked to a few clients too over the years where there's just maybe only a handful of tree and plant healthcare companies in a major metropolitan area. And it's probably growing now. This may have been 2 years or 3 years ago, and I had a conversation or two, but it was basically like there was nobody else really doing it that much. And a bunch of the traditional tree service companies who had a big customer base would recommend this certified arborist that was doing the tree and plant healthcare. So they were able to get a lot of recommendations, a lot of referrals from traditional tree companies who couldn't diagnose those things or didn't have the credentials, or even the sprayers and the different things like that to go apply, to those trees and help those trees out. So they would get a bunch of those recommendations and referrals, and then they would get kind of referred also by the customer, to other residential customers, commercial customers. So it seemed to be kind of a, you could grow the business a lot quicker in those markets because there was just only a few of those experts around type thing. But I had one guy in Tennessee. He had an interesting approach to this. So he would want to be in front of a lot of wealthy homeowners. And so what he did was he joined, I think it was like the Nashville Symphony Orchestra Association,
Oh,
like
dude,
a lot of
that's
those,
awesome.
a lot of those like high end area things in your local market, right? I think he was in BNI and a couple other HOA community associations and things like that. And he said that gave me an opportunity to be like the only guy talking about tree stuff in those circles. And he said I got unbelievable amounts of business from being a part of those communities. So maybe a tidbit for people out there looking to figure out kind of where to go market or where to go kind of network. Some of those higher end communities where people like that are kind of involved in might be a good idea.
Yeah, it's funny. I tried doing that in the exotic car community. Turns out I met a bunch of people who just like really cool cars. But the symphony, that'll be my next move. I'll try it out.
Yeah, it was like the orchestra. So it was crazy, but I was like, that's a pretty good idea. Well, let's pivot now to like you've got your hat on. This is your branding. This is your swag. You got your sweatshirt on. And I always talk to people, clients about this, and we do videos about this too. Like your marketing and branding and advertising all kind of just work together. So if you're doing search marketing, if you're doing branding, when you go shake hands, you go to customer sites. I think it's really, really important to have the trucks wrapped, to have your gear on, your hats on, your shirts on, because every one of those touch points is another opportunity to like market and brand and solidify your business name. Can you talk a little bit about that and kind of what all you're doing with that approach when you go to job sites and things like that?
Totally. Yeah, I think that's actually a testament to Tree Service Digital. It's not just the digital footprint. And I think you try and connect in the branding to some of these, more marketable services like pay-per-clicks and social media. Branding is the most important part of the business. And as a part of plant healthcare, I think that's a unique way that you can brand yourself to be more of a professional. This winter we've been doing a little rebranding of our own. How can we refine what we're already doing and make it better? And when you start to get solidified as an authority figure, the tree doctor in your area, it's almost like going to the vet. People who take their dog to the vet, they don't ever ask about the price. They want to know what's wrong with it and what can be done, to save your dog or to save your cat. So it's a similar situation where with the trees, you do get the occasional customer that is looking to treat their tree so they avoid the expense of removal. But most of your clients is going to be that emotional attachment. They don't want to lose the tree. They need somebody that they can trust. So the branding needs to be uniform across all of your marketing material, not just your social media, not just your website, not just your ad copy, your postcards, the way that your trucks are lettered, even your business cards. It all ties together to really portray that image of a professional company that people would want to do business with.
Yeah, it all just syncs up together. Like the search marketing and things like that or direct mail are kind of the quick, we need some calls right now to go on appointments to, get our opportunities. But the long-term play and opportunity really is that branding, solidifying your message, your unique value proposition in your local market. And I think building up your CRM, when you're putting all your customers in this CRM database, which we always recommend everybody do, because over 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, you could have thousands, if not tens of thousands of contacts in your CRM, which is also, a gold mine for your business over the long term. So it's one of those things where if you just do all these little things repeatedly, that's kind of the long-term play and the memorability of people calling you back and getting that repeat business and things. So it sounds like you guys are really taking off, man. That's awesome. Always love to hear those stories and just continuing to grow and things like that. What are some of the other things that I know you've done a lot of video content to kind of educate the public on things, but what are some other things that you guys have been doing, kind of, taking initiative on to really kind of educate people and get those calls coming in?
Education wise, there is that video content that we put together. We generally invest about 5% of our revenue every year into creating content. Sometimes that's going to be pictures. Sometimes that's going to be, videos for YouTube or for social media. But because the client doesn't know what they need, you need to almost drop breadcrumbs in front of them so that they know when to call. So it is a lot of email marketing. I would almost consider it like organic marketing, where you're already reaching back out to your existing clients. One of the biggest things that separates us from, the average company that someone might call is our membership program. One of the things that includes is an annual certified arborist review. I told you before this call that I had 24 appointments today. Those are visiting and nurturing 24 existing clients. We're going back to their property. We're hearing their concerns from top to bottom. We're looking at the shrubs, we're looking at the trees, and we're putting together a new plan for the upcoming season. Which is really important. A lot of these clients, they're used to almost like the lawn service treatment, where every year they get the same tired program. And it's really unique to be able to customize that towards their current concerns rather than the concerns you really should have taken care of 3 or 4 years ago, you know?
Yeah, no, I mean that's getting you back in the door annually with each one of the contacts on your database. If they sign up for that maintenance program, right? And that's really the key, I think, is those maintenance programs or whatever you want to call those or coin those for your business is perfect because that gets you back in the door. When you do get the treatment scheduled, are you guys typically probably all different? I'm kind of a novice to the tree and plant healthcare is like actually what you guys do as far as on site, but is it like a bi-monthly, like a quarterly? How often do you go do the treatments if needed?
So we give customers more of a like custom or tailored approach to their property. I think the typical IPM model of, okay, we're going to stop out 4 times, 5 times, 6 times. It doesn't really give the customer a sense of direction. We hear from a lot of new clients who might have used somebody with the IPM model. They don't really know what they're getting. They don't really have a clear history of what was done on the property. Sometimes that's actually the reason they're looking for a switch. They're paying $300 or $400. They say the guy was there 5 minutes, dropped a postcard, might have sprayed a couple of the bushes. There's a saying that I've heard recently from Lance Bachman. It's aim small, miss small. So with our targeted approach, we are focusing specifically on what the pest pressure and the disease pressure, things like emerald ash borer, beech leaf disease, those are pretty obvious. But even something like dogwood anthracnose, those need 3 sprays at specific times. And if you're going on a regular IPM program, I mean, you might miss the window depending on when you get there in April. Infection might already be on the leaves. You might not get back out until the end of May. So I just haven't seen it to be as successful as being dialed into specific visits based on what you're trying to control.
Right. And then you can also customize it to where when you get out there, if it looks like the tree is recovering and it's doing well, then you don't have to do X amount of more visits because it's recovering nicely, right? So it's more of a custom thing instead of just a checkbox. That makes a lot of sense. So it's custom pretty much for people. Now, with the educational process, are you guys, just for the audience to know, and if you guys are getting value, comment below, like and subscribe to this video, or just like the video in general. It really helps the algorithm. But if you guys or with the educational process, is it a lot of like social media? And then are you doing some email campaigns to your customers with like, hey, this is what to look for during this season and this is how we do it type thing?
Yeah, I think, at least in my opinion, for the way that we've been able to brand ourselves and grow into a 7-figure business, social media is very top of the funnel. I'm not really looking to do a lot of education. However, the content that we are posting is educational, but it's more to capture and start to nurture that lead or that customer. The internal email marketing that we do, that's where we get a little bit more dialed in, specifically based on the customer's work history, what we're seeing in the area. It's almost like a mini pest alert newsletter that we have together that focuses specifically on what they might be seeing.
Gotcha. And any other like incentives or anything unique you guys are doing to kind of maybe get in the door with past customers whenever you send out maybe an email marketing campaign or a text marketing campaign? Is there anything that you've kind of done to see if you can sort of maybe increase the percentage of people replying or responding to kind of get back onto the property?
We actually have a really high retention rate. So we don't have too many customers that are leaving because they forgot about us. Of course, just like everybody else, we lose clients. God forbid someone might pass away. But most commonly, people are moving. Maybe the couple bad storms that we have might knock down a tree. But the biggest thing for us has been not offering discounts, but instead giving more value. Some of the way we give value is by offering these certified arborist inspections. Every inspection comes with a report of the property, what our recommendations are. So we're not just shoving a proposal in their face, we're telling them why we're recommending the treatments that we are. We've also started playing around with some free foliar analysis by signing up for a program in advance, which has been pretty successful. A lot of companies are doing, soil care, which I think is awesome. But soil samples is a little tired. Customers don't get too excited about it. They hear the foliar sample and, they feel like they're more of a part of the process, watching you come out, cut the limbs, knowing that you're going to get lab analysis back. So that's been pretty cool.
That's great, man. Yeah, and I think just just doing the like you were saying, the top of the funnel, the educational process too. One of the things we always recommend with our clients is just to do a simple retargeting campaign on social media because people that have liked your page will see. I think the percentage is like maybe 10, maybe 15%, maybe 20% of your postings if they've liked and followed your page, your business page in the past, because the algorithm wants people to they want business owners to run ads on their Facebook page to reach the audience that you've already worked hard for to get the likes from, right? So it's kind of that's kind of a crazy thing that they started doing 5 to 7 years ago, where you can post on your business page, but the people that liked it won't necessarily see it, right? It's based on kind of what the algorithm wants to show them based on what they've been clicking on. So what we always recommend is just a simple $2 a day retargeting campaign and just an educational video like some of the ones you have on your social media. So if you guys are listening, like any kind of educational video or maybe some sort of checklist on what to look for with a tree or anything like that could be your retargeting ad. And all you have to do is just put the Facebook pixel from your ad account onto your website. And then you can also retarget people that have touched your Facebook page, Instagram page. And that just keeps you top of mind, especially if they've clicked on one of your emails in the past that went to a link to your website to read something. But it just keeps everybody in your world all the time. So it sounds like you're doing a good job of like building a fence around your customers too, with those maintenance programs, getting back out annually for the arborist, consultation, those types of things. So we just always recommend that because the more times people see you over and over, it's just tattooing that brand and that name in their head so they know who to call when the opportunity pops up, right? Is that kind of what you're seeing too? It just keeps them top of mind.
Yeah, no, I mean, and to your credit, like this all ties back into branding. What is it? On average, it takes like 5 to 6 touch points to either close a sale or maybe like get a customer to call you. So the first touch point might be your branded yard sign. The second touch point might be, them seeing your truck drive by. And then when they type in, like arborist near me, your pay-per-click comes up, your Google My Business listing. Those are additional touch points. They go on your website. And just as you described, for a really low cost per customer, every time they go on social media, now that's another touch point that they're seeing some of your educational content. So it all ties in together. And TSD, I know you guys do a really good job of that, of trying to take like the conventional, dumping money into pay per click and writing blog posts. I mean, you really tie in a lot more of that to a real marketing strategy.
Yeah, I mean, different people kind of gravitate towards different things. Some people are on social media and they will be a buyer there. It's a lower percentage of people, but there are people there. There's also Google search, right? You want to be there. You want to be in the Google Maps. You want to get those reviews. Your blog articles, to your point too. And I know you guys have a lot of educational content on all the different types of like species of pests and different types of trees and all of that. Those types of things are searchable. So there's just many different ways people are going to kind of bump into you, and then once they do, they're going to read your content if it's good. And that's going to show the algorithms that you've got good content. People want to stay on your website. But the retargeting aspect of it all as well just continually rebrands that name over and over and over again. And yes, I mean, 5 to 7 touch points, sometimes 15 for people to give you a call. But the good thing is once they've seen you that many times, the likelihood of them hiring your company are going to be higher because they've seen you so many times versus somebody who does not have branded trucks, maybe only has 5 Google reviews, has a very low key social media page, does not do any email or text marketing. They're kind of hidden behind, and they're not out in front and center. And I think that front and center approach just yields more business, yields more appointments, more opportunities, and kind of what you guys are doing, right? And you show up in your branded trucks and your gear, it's just a whole another branding opportunity every time you get to a job site.
I couldn't agree more. And it especially the retargeting and some of the easy things like, lettering your truck, having all your trucks lettered the same exact way doesn't really cost that much money. And the retargeting doesn't cost that much either. So it's like you're doing all the heavy lifting. You're paying all this money for the on-page SEO and the cost per click on Google. The low-hanging fruit is making sure they see you when they've already been to your website. Like they're already leads that are warmed up. And talking with a lot of tree company owners, like I'm sure you run into the same thing that they're paying a lot of money to turn the cold lead into a warm one instead of nurturing the warm ones that they already have that are more likely to already buy their services.
Yeah, we call it building a fence around your customer base. And literally that's what you're doing with your CRM and that customer database that you have. And it's just powerful. If you continue to do that, when something comes through like a storm, if you're doing traditional tree services or anything like that, like you're going to be the first one they think of. And you can also just have pre-made templates ready to text out when a tornado rolls through or a hurricane if you're in the southern part of the United States. Things like that are just really impactful when you can do those quickly and kind of on a whim, because those people are going to need help, when they need it. And so let's talk a little bit about where you guys are headed. Is there anything that you want to share as far as, because you talked about the marketing, kind of how you built it, the branding, the advertising, now over seven-figure business, and kind of moving into the future. Are you guys doing anything different this year, or kind of more of the same? Maybe pouring more gas on what's been working type thing? What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, we're always looking to build. We're always looking to improve. Something that's pretty exciting, through some connections with LB Capital out of Fort Washington. We are the first tree preservation company that's being onboarded onto Service Titan. We did use another CRM. We had them for years. It's not that they were bad, but kind of being exposed to what a lot of other home services have with their CRMs. Wes, I'm pretty sure you grew up in the plumbing business, so
Hmm.
being familiar with Service Titan, all the different integrations that they have. They typically don't accept tree companies, but we were able to get an opportunity to show them why we would be a good fit. So we onboard, and it's our official go live date is actually this week. It's on the 8th. So we're really excited about that. Hopefully, to open up the door, show other tree business owners the power of simple integrations, like even integrations with CallRail and Google Analytics and Google Pay Per Click tying directly into the CRM. That's going to be a huge game changer for us. We're working on a couple different tools for our applicators in the field. I don't want to say too much until it's ready and we can show everybody some of the systems that we have in place. But that's something that's pretty exciting. And going back to marketing, it's the most important thing for your business in order to continue to grow. Every year, we invest at least 10 to 15% back into our marketing, and it shows. This year we're at 4 crews now. I want to end the year with 5 crews. We're actually looking for another sales arborist to help us manage all of our clients and continue to nurture those relationships.
That's awesome. Yeah, and to your point, the SBA, there's a link you can search it. Like, how much should I spend on marketing with my business? And what does the government know? But most successful business owners do know that you need to spend at least 5% on marketing from your gross revenue. And if you spend up to 10 or 15%, just be a little bit more aggressive, you'll grow even faster. And of course, you've got to track and manage what marketing is working and what's not working, because you want to shut things off that aren't working or not converting. But spending that money on marketing to really keep pushing your business forward is something you've just got to get comfortable with, right? And as a business owner, it's, sometimes it's easy to kind of pull back and just say, no, I just want to keep that money in the bank. But then you're going to go through a slow period where if you would have just, maybe just sent it out there and just made sure you kept a, consistent budget going, whether it's search marketing, direct mail, signs, all the above, you would bridge those gaps with those slow periods. So it's just really important to at least be spending a good percentage and just come up with that budget, whatever you're comfortable with. I think anything 5% or higher is going to be a good number, just depending on how aggressive you want to be and depending on kind of your business model. Some people are more into the contracts with the municipalities or the HOAs or things like that. Other people are more residential and they want to kind of stay in that particular world. So I think 10 to 15% is very good. That's aggressive. That's a good portion of your revenue, but that's going to keep you growing, and if you can continue to do that, it compounds every year, that marketing effort. So yeah, that's kind of the data on that. At least 5% is typically the general rule of thumb in most of the marketing worlds out there. But yeah, that's pushing it forward and growing. That's great, man.
Yeah,
So
we're really excited, and Service Titan really has the tools to get very granular on where your ad dollars not just are being spent, but what those conversions actually look like when it's able to communicate directly to your CRM. I think a lot of guys have had bad experiences. Like maybe they started a Google pay-per-click account and they burnt through a ton of money, but it's not because Google pay-per-click doesn't work. It's either their strategy was flawed, they weren't working with a company like TSD, um, or they didn't have a good way to track it. So, spending the money and being aggressive is part of it. The tracking is really the other part. So over the next couple of months, we'll definitely be sharing what we're learning with Service Titan and some of these really cool integrations that we have available to help everybody in the industry be able to track their marketing better.
man, that's amazing. So now what you're saying is just so I can clarify too, and the audience can understand too, Service Titan will have like a tree service niche specific CRM.
Service Titan will not have a tree specific CRM. We're being onboarded directly with Service Titan.
Mhm,
They do have a CRM Aspire,
mhm,
which isn't too bad.
mhm,
But just from the coaching that I've gotten with LB Capital, to me it was Service Titan or nothing.
mhm,
I think in the tree industry, we're almost kind of like sheltered from some of the tools that are actually out there. And it's not until you start getting out there with different home service businesses, especially like roofers and HVAC, and you see what's really available. I mean, to me, it was feeling like I was running my business with my hands tied behind my back, seeing
mhm.
what some of these other guys have. So, yeah, we're being implemented directly into Service Titan. And the number one reason why we decided to switch after months of like arm wrestling, just trying to get them to take us on as a client, was the marketing and the ad spend tracking. I can't stress that enough. Like once you guys start to see the benefit, and Wes, I know you already know this,
Mhm.
but once you can really see in real time, directly in your CRM, what ad functions are performing best, it's going to hopefully save us a lot of money, but help us fuel that growth.
100%, man. The integrations part of it is like a massive piece of the puzzle. And a lot of these CRMs just don't integrate with anything, and
Yeah.
it's one of those things where, you can't integrate. So it's a manual matchup process with revenue generated, and these leads are attributed to these lead channels. And so you have to kind of do a lot of that stuff manually. And whoever can come up with a good AI platform to match those up, automatically is going to be making a lot of money. But Service Titan sounds like kind of has a lot of those attributions in place where you can integrate with, like you said, the Google Ads account, local service ads account, Google, analytics, like Search
Yep.
Console, all those things, man. It makes it easier to
Well,
know,
and,
hey,
and
I
it's
want
not just going to be
to.
easier for the tree business. It's going to be easier for the marketing company, and not
Mhm,
easier like you guys aren't going to have to do more work, but the we don't do our own marketing,
mhm,
but the company that we work with, I want to make sure that I'm giving them the tools available
mhm,
to execute the best strategy. And what better way to execute the best strategy than to see which keywords are top performing, and what services are highest sold on some of those ad groups. So we're really excited about it. It's a good opportunity to open up the door for a lot of other people in the industry, and hopefully
Awesome,
a
man.
lot of marketing companies too.
Yeah, no doubt. We've worked with Service Titan a handful of times, and it's always easy to work with, easy to integrate with. I mean, it's a lot more refreshing than some of the other CRMs out there. As kind of basic as some of them are, some of them integrate with a lot of platforms. It just makes it easier, right? Like we have a review platform that we integrate with that really helps too. Every time an invoice is paid, it goes right into a review automation to get that 5-star review, so you don't have to think about it or try to work for the review. So there's a lot of cool little things you can do like that to really beef up your Google presence too. Well, awesome, man. You've shared a ton of great nuggets. Again, guys, if you're listening, if you got any questions, comment below on the video or like this video, got plenty more of these coming up. I'd be interested to know like where it's headed with Service Titan and kind of what all you come up with on that and see how that goes. If you're ever open to kind of coming back another 6 months or a year from now and kind of give us your results on that, that'd be awesome. Um,
Yeah, absolutely. We're excited for the opportunity. I'd love to come back and share not just what we're working on with Service Titan, but how we're able to incorporate the technology portion, integrating it into our marketing, and continuing to grow into 5 and 6 crews. So it's going to be a good year, man. I
yeah, that's
appreciate you having
awesome,
us
man.
on. If
Yeah.
everybody wants to check us out further, at Rick's Certified Arborist, that's our Instagram. Feel free to shoot us a follow. We're putting a lot of good content out there for arborists to learn from.
That's great, man. Anything else for the audience out there? A lot of guys just kind of getting started, just getting into the tree service business. Maybe actually just pivoting into the tree healthcare side of it, plant healthcare side of it. Any maybe just last words of wisdom when getting into that side of the business, or anything to look for, or just business advice in general that you'd like to share?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, one of the areas of growth is we are going to be getting into business consulting because plant healthcare at times can seem like this mythical, beast that's hard to break into. And then there's the other side of a lot of the distributors are making it seem like it's easy, like, oh, just start plant healthcare and just start printing revenue. It's every year, just continue to grow. And I got to tell you, I mean, plant healthcare has been, difficult at times to scale and to grow that side of the business. But if I had to recommend it on how anybody else would get started, I think it's best just to become the master at like 3 or 5 different services. Any more than five, you're going to start missing treatment windows. You're not really going to understand the mechanics of how these treatments work. So that would be my best advice. Pick 3 of the top pests or diseases, even like root collar excavation. That's really low hanging fruit. A lot of landscapers and even tree companies alike in the industry, they can't plant trees. All the root flares are buried. There's girdling roots that are developing, which is probably the reason why this root collar excavation is the most needed service on every property. So just starting slow, and then every year, every season, if you continue to add 3 to 5 services, I mean, after 4 years, you're really going to be an expert in your local market. That's going to be hard to compete with. Last piece of advice is find somebody like TSD to work with. You have to be an expert on trees. You're not going to be an expert on marketing. That's why companies like Tree Service Digital are making it so much easier for other business owners to just take something off their plate, know that it's going to be done right, and a strategy is going to be developed to help them grow.
Oh man, I appreciate that. Really do. And that's kind of what we take aim for is, to do our marketing channel side of their business, help them with the branding, the search marketing, all the above, while they go out and run their business. Because there's so many hats to wear as a business owner as you scale and grow your business. And so lots of great tips, man, and insights. I really appreciate your time, John. Thanks for hopping on today. And again, if you guys are watching this on YouTube, like and subscribe to the channel, leave a comment if you got a question. John or I will be happy to kind of answer it. And thanks so much, John, for joining. I know you're gonna have a great year, man, and we'll catch up again and get some updates from you.
Absolutely. Been a pleasure, man. I'll see you,
Thanks,
Wes.
man. Talk to you soon. Bye bye.